Hello, world. This is America's Supermom, and this is a special edition that I call the Corona Chronicles. During this time, we are suffering from a pandemic that is affecting everyone across the world. We are joined with the rules and regulations of being shelter in place, which means we are limited with the ability to go about our daily business, confined to our homes based on a coronavirus that has been sweeping the entire world. For some people, the effects could be mild. For others, it can be fatal. So we are coming together as a community, as a family during this time of difficulty to share what it is like in our part of the world, how we are affected, and the things that we have in common, what kind of problems that are taking place in our industries and in our relationships and finances, and coming together so that we can plan for a better tomorrow. As this epidemic or pandemic crosses the world, we are waiting for relief. We're waiting for the virus to die off and for us to go back to some state of normalcy, whatever that may be, after things kind of settle down. So, what is that going to look like once the dust settles? How are things going to be different? So, as we go through this process, we're coming together as a world to create ideas, strategies, connect in ways that we have never connected before. So, that is the purpose of the special podcast that I call the Corona Chronicles, so that we can get some insight and have empathy and compassion on one another, create new innovative ideas that can not only improve our life, but our fellow brothers and sisters across the world. Thank you so much for joining us.
Guys, today for listening. So glad to have our next guest, Dr. Larry White Sr. This is just so encouraging for many of us who are dealing with this pandemic. I'm really excited about his leadership and tips and tools that he could provide us with in terms of networking and different things that we can implement as entrepreneurs as we kind of navigate through these kind of uncertain times. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Larry White Sr. and begin with him telling us a little bit about himself.
Well, Lachelle, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your broadcast today. And I got
Mm-hmm.
to tell you, the um, the Facebook Live that you and your husband did the other day was absolutely
Oh,
phenomenal. Your husband had me laughing for 45 minutes. I tell you, he's got a lot of jokes in him, and just
yes.
a wonderful information y'all were putting out there with all that land and the children. But a little bit about me. Born and raised in Gary, Indiana, the youngest of three children. After 18 years living in urban city,
Mm-hmm.
I went off to the Navy for about 10 years, and I traveled the world and saw a lot, even similar things what we're going through right now. Because when I was in the Persian Gulf for 2 years, it was a lot like what was going on the pandemic today. So I kind of learned how to live in close quarters, and things
Mm.
were very similar. Uh, the Persian Gulf War, like Vietnam, a lot of deaths and a lot of different
Mm.
sprayed in the air, Lachelle. So I was telling my wife the other day, being quarantined is kind of cool, get to hang out with the family because we're so busy, don't get a chance to do it. But after spending a little over 10 years on active duty, I came back to Maryland, pursued
Mm-hmm.
an IT career, and met my beautiful wife, and we got married, and that's been 17 years ago. So we've been married 17 years with a total of five beautiful children. And in 2012, I joined the 100 Black Men and the Baltimore chapter. And that's when, like, things really took off for me. I started meeting a lot of the senators and being in the room with governors and just looking at the community and politics. And then I launched my business as well in 2012, VIP Events Concierge, and never looked back. So the entrepreneurial journey has taken me, it's a lot consumed, which we'll probably get to, but that's kind of it in a nutshell, a little bit about me.
Awesome, awesome. So going back, just kind of briefly touching on it because a lot of us have had the luxury of having our freedom to go back and forth when we want to, engaging in face-to-face contact through our companies and networking events, so to speak. So for some of us who are not fully equipped to deal with this change in the environment somewhat suddenly, what advice would you give them or any kind of hacks to kind of be mindful of as we go through this period of quarantine?
Well, the first thing I would say is listen to the health officials. I know right here in my backyard, we have John Hopkins University is just definitely giving out the things. It's more than just washing your hands, but just really adhering to the health rules. And it's tough, but you definitely want to
Mm-hmm.
stay safe and keep your distance from folks. I was able to get some masks for me and my wife yesterday. So shout out to Natalie DeGraff and Reed, who dropped some off in our
Mm-hmm.
mailbox. And we're trying initially, I'll be honest with you, my children didn't take this very seriously. They wanted to go out and do things. And I told
Mm-hmm.
my wife, we're born in the 60s. So this is kind of bringing us back to the 70s, if you will. I told my wife if
Mm-hmm.
we could take away them cell phones, they would really see how it is to sit here and have a conversation and communicate. But to get
Mm-hmm.
back to your question, it's just being a healthy mindset. I know I'm eating way
Mm-hmm.
too much. I'm eating way too much, but I'm trying to have movie night with my children and my
Mm-hmm.
family, board games, something we haven't done in a long time. So this pandemic is bringing us together in some positive ways. But the biggest thing is to have a great mindset that this too shall pass. But during the midst,
Mm-hmm.
try to have your normalcy as you can. We've been
Mm-hmm.
restricted away from going certain places. I know we are on lockdown. We cannot get in our vehicles and drive after 8 p.m. unless there's an emergency. But I'm listening. Around 7 o'clock. If I'm out trying to get some food, I only go out and get food and come back home. But I'm trying to still live normal. My wife and I are blessed
Mm-hmm.
to still be getting paid during this pandemic. You and your husband just really gave some great knowledge. My wife and I are still getting paid. We are able to work from home right now, and we're getting paid. And
Mm-hmm.
we never know when that money's going to run out. So we're paying our bills down. We're trying to put some money away.
Mm-hmm.
Just never know. Because the thing about it, too, Lachelle, after this is over, there's going to be a huge after effect of this
Mm-hmm.
for many,
Mm-hmm.
many years to come. And so I hope that the millennials are really looking at this because I know when my children look back at 20 years ago, they're going to be like, wow, that during our lifetime, and so we're just trying to keep normalcy um, by doing day-to-day things that we normally would do or just trying to,
Mm-hmm.
maybe eat healthy. We always try to eat healthy now,
Mm-hmm.
try to walk, try to exercise. I know my boys are really doing some great exercise. I can't keep up with them. And I got to say this last thing, and hopefully this will sum up your question, Lachelle. I went out and did a little yard work today. I call myself being a green thumb, pretty therapeutic in the lawn, but it cools me
Mm-hmm.
down. And when I'm out there, the lawn looked really bad, but I went out there and pulled some weeds, and that's just something I like do. But I'm just being safe and had a mask on, and and my boys helped
Mm-hmm.
me as well. So that was just something really good, and I think I inspired some of the neighbors because they came out as well.
Awesome, awesome. I love that whole thing of just having some type of normalcy, because a lot of times we kind of get stuck in that rut of, woe is me. I've been there just in my own life journey with depression, so I can understand how a lot of us can kind of falter and get back into that. So, great tips for us to keep in mind. So,
Absolutely.
you are a published author, and your book, The Ultimate Networker and Entrepreneur. So, networking is looking different these days. We are now virtual, doing everything online. So, what would be some advice that you would give some of these companies or individuals as we transition through this transformation, so to speak, in the industries with networking online?
Well, outstanding question, Lachelle. It's always great. You lead me right where I want to go. During this quiet
Mhm.
time, I was able to finish my second book called Operating in Excellence with a subtitle Pain,
Mm.
Purpose, and Position. I'll say that again, Operating in Excellence. No matter what's going on, you should
Mhm.
always operate in excellence. And the Lord will see you through some pain, and He will make sure you go.
Mhm.
It could be financial, it could be death, but that pain will lead you to your purpose. That purpose is allowing
Mm.
you to use your God-given talents so you can be in a position to be a blessing to others. So I finished my second book, and it's going very well. And back to the original question. So I had to, because both these books are about power networking. Both of the two books I have,
Mhm.
and I gotta say,
Mhm.
I feel really good. I haven't had to adjust at all during this. I already had my Zoom
Mm.
set up, my Skype.
Mhm.
I was already virtually doing things for the past 5 years. So this was pretty much plug and play for me. But the advice I would give
Mm.
people, like I've got you see them and you and them too. I've got a authors group, so folks can go to that authors group, get inspired, get connected, be empowered. So I
Mhm.
got my author. So I set up all these business groups 5 years ago. So they go to their authors group. They can go to the DMV concierge group. There's all kind of things that we're putting in with the COVID-19 stimulus package. A lot of information. The other thing I
Mhm.
recommend that you join an organization, a
Mhm.
nonprofit organization where you're volunteering, a chamber of commerce. Me personally, I started a mastermind group, and I've got 15
Mm.
masterminds like yourself, Lachelle. We share information
Mhm.
with each other. If you don't know how to build a website, we'll teach you how to do that. If you don't know how to write a book, we'll show you how to be a self-published author, all kind of things. When you're starting a business, what's the difference between an LLC and an LLP, C corp, S corp, and that's important
Mhm.
because that's going to determine how you'll be filing your taxes as a small business owner. So it's very simple. Get on
Mhm.
Zoom or Be Live or even this podcast here and start having
Mhm.
virtual trainings, virtual workshops
Mhm.
on at least 10 virtual trainings and workshops, and I didn't get paid for a few of them as well, so you can monetize those. And I have my radio show. As you know, I got to get you on my radio show. It's every Thursday here at home,
Mhm.
and we bring it in Zoom. Zoom is the central repository for the broadcast, but I replay it on Facebook
Mm.
Live, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and also LinkedIn. So that's what you got to get out there and do.
Mm.
And you got to virtualize your business, and I always tell folks, if you do not innovate your business, you will get left behind, especially when it comes to technology.
Mhm.
And so I feel
Mhm.
blessed that, when my wife asked me the other day, Larry, what does VPN stand for? And I've been doing VPN networks for 15, 20 years, but it's called virtual private network. And that's in the corporate world where you can access all your files and network drives from home. And so the educational field,
Mm.
they're getting up to speed, but a lot of the corporate companies have been working from home for years. So it's still a little different at home because you got to get on the phone and talk to your team about things. But I would definitely suggest to the entrepreneurs, because the small business owners are really taking a hurting right now. And I lowered the
Mhm.
price of my book during COVID-19 on purpose. I was going to sell it for
Mm.
a burp per book. But I figured people needed something to do while they were bored at home. So I just launched the book right during the COVID-19. And right now, the algorithm to be a best-selling author via Amazon is 50 copies sold in 1 hour or 500 in a day. And I did 50 copies in an hour this week.
Mhm.
So I just want to thank everybody who's went out and pre-saled the book, and that's what I've been.
Amen.
And so the networking on Zoom, Skype, where you can share your screen and talk through your seminars. And look, I got to say this. I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, Lachelle. All my events
Mhm.
have been postponed. I was supposed to be in Tampa 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to be in Atlanta with you today, this
Mhm.
weekend.
Mhm.
I had to
Mhm. Mhm.
postpone all of them. And so right now, what we're doing now, you'll see this week, is we're going to start doing some teleconferences where we're going to do a lot of those online virtually. So that's the way to go to keep yourself in business, and you can still reach your clients that way as well.
That is so awesome. And, we still are making that connection this weekend, just a different format. So I want to encourage people to think out of the box. Now, you mentioned some great things about monetizing some of these different events virtually. So for somebody who is not even in that headspace, what are some suggestions on how they can do that? Because for some people, it's like they're overwhelmed, they can't think what tomorrow is. They're caught up in how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to do this? So, what are some practical things that they can begin to implement, every day to kind of begin to get that monetization process going?
Lachelle, that's an excellent question, and I'm gonna give them a whole couple bullets that'll get them where they need to be. Nobody
Mhm.
really carries cash these days. It's either credit card or
Mhm.
so. The first two things you want to do is get Cash App and PayPal. Okay, these are
Mhm.
online financial institutions that give you a little small surcharge, but Cash App, somebody can wire you $50 and you connect these to your checking or your saving account, right? So it's instant right into your bank.
Mhm.
So what happens is if you have Cash App or PayPal, I personally like PayPal a little bit better because PayPal will give you a running itemized inventory of what you've spent in and out every day per quarter. So it's good to pull the
Mhm.
reports and you can do your taxes if you're a small business owner because some states have small business owners, entrepreneurs file their taxes quarterly every quarter. So it's easy to just pull a report
Mhm.
with PayPal. So if you got PayPal or Cash App, you can integrate those links into Zoom. So Zoom has what you call paid software within Zoom, and it will allow
Mhm.
you to uh, put that link in there. So when you're hosting a training, it'll give you a code. So if you were to log on to the broadcast, it'll give you a code. And once you pay your subscription, it will allow you onto the teleconference. So real simple, get Cash App, PayPal. There's Vimo out there. There's all kind of cash. These are like virtual
Mhm.
banks, if you will, virtual banks.
Mhm.
Like pay
Mhm.
I got $200 yesterday via PayPal through my book and some of my groups, and it went right to my PayPal account. And I have a credit card associated with that PayPal give me. Now I do have an
Mhm.
option to take that money and put it into my personal checking, but I like to separate the two. At the end of
Mhm.
the day, Vimo, Cash App, PayPal are the three popular ones. Once you go online, they're free to just sign up. Once you link them to your checking
Mhm.
account, the money just starts coming in. So then what you can do is link those two, and you can give me a call. I know once we'll get the
Mhm.
contact information before we conclude. But once you get all that set up, you point it into the portal where you're at, which is Zoom, and it's ways to just set that up. They can call me. And as you're hosting your workshops and your seminars and your training online, you could get paid for them. Just like if you was in a conference room with 500 people and people had to pay a ticket online or cash to get
Mm.
there. Now they can do that virtually online and you don't even have to see the people. And I will say this I had 25 people on a Zoom the other night, but you can get 50 to 80 people up there and you can do breakout classes
Mm.
and breakout rooms. It's really sophisticated and it's almost like you're right there. And then you want to talk about social distancing so that you made your money, you empower people, and you got paid.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. And so this is some very good practical insight because I think a lot of people sometimes can get stuck. They've got their kids at home and just trying to come up with ideas and generate that is something that can be really challenging. I have 12, so I'm over here trying to keep my head above water. They keep it interesting for me.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So, Now, so your second book, let's dive a little bit into what are the key takeaways that you would want us to get from that second book. I love the title that you have for it and just the concept of operating in excellence. So, this to me stands out because as we kind of are all online, everybody is virtual, so to speak. So operating at excellence, what are some key things that we can implement? I'm sorry about the background noise. What are some key things that we can implement to operate in excellence and stand out amongst the competition in the industries of whatever that we're participating in?
Michelle, again, another great question, and I'm going to give you my 7 chapters because that title, I prayed
Mhm.
about it, operating in excellence. I've been chewed out as a one gospel song, lied upon, all that stuff stabbed in the back of your neck.
Mhm.
The bottom line, you always, no matter what, should operate in excellence because when you're a business owner, you are your brand and you want to make sure that when you leave the room
Mhm.
that they're saying something positive, nothing negative. But here's what I want, folks.
Mhm.
Here's the thing. Here are the things that people can live up to, be better. Chapter 1. What's your purpose? You got to know your purpose. What is your purpose? That's
Mhm.
number 1.
Mhm.
If you're
Mhm.
still figuring it out, that's okay, but you need to know your purpose. Chapter 2, elevating in your season. You got to know when it's your season. Elevating in your season. I love that one.
Mhm.
And here's the thing, like Lachelle, you've been
Mhm.
amazing. Connecting with like-hearted people. Now,
Mhm.
notice I didn't say like-minded because sometimes people mind ain't right. So I want to be with
Mhm.
like-hearted people, connecting with like-hearted people. This is probably the most important
Amen.
thing right here. When something is not going your way
Mhm.
and God is trying to put you on a path, get out of your own way. If you try to do things on
Mhm.
your own in your flesh, you're going to fail. You have to do things in the Holy
Mhm.
Spirit, the principalities. You got the human condition contending with the
Mhm.
Holy Spirit. So just pray about things and say, Lord, is this what you have me doing? And the Lord will give you confirmation if it's in line with what He wants you to do. So then you got to get out of your own way. Chapter 5,
Mhm.
learning how to deal with rejection. Come on. I mean, I've been told no 500
Mm.
times, but those 1 or 2 yeses I got kept me going. So, learning how to deal with rejection and also being the best version of you, the best version of you. I look in the mirror and I'm really
Mm.
happy with what I see. There were times, Lachelle, I wasn't happy with what I saw. Was it good at a lot of things? But I'm a
Mhm.
better husband, better father, better brother, better son, the best version of you. And the last one, my
Mhm.
mentors always told me this, and you all got to get mentors no matter how successful you are. Dream big. Don't dream small, dream big. And I was
Mm.
sitting back as I
Mhm.
finished this second book, and all my buddies was buying it. They're like, Larry, did you ever think you'd be a published author, 2-time best-selling author? I said, no, but I used when I was growing up in humble beginnings in Gary, Indiana, and the murder capital of the world for 7 years in a row. When I was growing up, Lachelle, so statistically, as an African American male at 51 years of age, where I'm from, I'm not supposed to be here today. Amen. But I always would dream
Mhm.
big, and now I'm starting to see some of the fruits of my labor because when I didn't have a lot of money, I would dream big. And then when I started making some money and saw some success, I was still dreaming big, but I also remembered some of the things that were my goals, and I want to end it with
Mhm.
this talking about Dream Big. The last few chapters of this book were written in Martha's Vineyard. I always wanted to go to Martha's Vineyard. I finally went there last year. I turned 50. I bought a new car. I launched my new book. 50 was it for me. And I finished the last few chapters of this book. And I used to always dream as a little kid, would I make it to Martha's Vineyard one day? And not only did I make it to Martha's Vineyard, I finished this second book up there. So I'm excited to get this new project out into everybody's hands because this one, operating in excellence, dreaming big, all these chapters just go hand in hand with the title. So thank you for that question, Lachelle.
Mhm. Absolutely, and those are some good nuggets. So definitely a nice teaser for people to think about as they, think about what they're going to be reading next, because that's a good read.
Absolutely.
Now, And in conclusion, one other question I want to say is that, you have kind of coined yourself as being a researcher of the differences between marketing, branding, and
Yes,
advertising. And for a lot of people who, we've kind of taken these things for granted and not really known the difference between the three because they all sound similar. So, as you are a solopreneur or even somebody who's looking to reinvent themselves, maybe your industry is being eliminated for some reason and you have to kind of pivot to something else. So, can you kind of go over really briefly what those three entities are
absolutely. I would love
um,
to, Lachelle. Thank
for
you
the
so much
audience?
again for that
Mm-hmm.
question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start off with branding, which I believe is the big key here. Branding is more
Mm-hmm.
than just your logo and your website. It's about the color schemes of your website. Like my website, my business cards, they're all black and burgundy. And so my logo and my
Mm-hmm.
color schemes, everything I do is black and burgundy. So I'm branding what my vision and what my business is about. And lastly about branding, it's the last impression you want to leave on your clients. They had a good experience at your workshop. I have a
Mm-hmm.
car service, so if I treat people good with my car service, they're going to call me back. So branding is really key. If you lose your branding and reputation, you have to close shop and rebrand because I know some folks didn't do well and they remembered the name of the company. So the person had to rebrand, start a new company,
Mm-hmm.
and preferably they changed what they were doing wrong. But branding is key. So it's the last impression you want to leave with your clients. Um, Marketing,
Mm-hmm.
it's simple. It's your product and services. What are you offering people? My company, VIP Events Concierge, we
Mm-hmm.
offer three things. We offer event planning, event marketing, and transportation. Those are my product and services. And so just to know what
Mm-hmm.
you're marketing, those your and branding those product and services. What are you offering your service? So again, your marketing is the products that you are soliciting to your clients. And then advertising, it's what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
now: podcasts, radio, newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
television, social media. Social media is free. When I first started, I was paying
Mm-hmm.
$1,500 a month to advertise my business on local newspapers, and I wasn't seeing a return on my investment. So I quickly learned some marketing skills and advertising, because you'll be paying a lot. So advertising is simple, just the social media, which is popular. It's free for the most part. If people don't know, they can't do sponsored ads on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook and LinkedIn, and you pay a little bit, but you get to hit a larger demographic area. So I'm in Maryland. If I want to do a sponsored
Mm-hmm.
commercial and just hit Atlanta, I could do that. And it's like 10, $15 and it'll run for 30 or 40 days. So the advertising is, I like to say that
Mm-hmm.
last because you're advertising your product and services, you're advertising your brand. So they all are uniquely connected, but definitely different. And I encourage all business
Mm-hmm.
owners, if you own a business, you can pay people to do that stuff for you, which most of us do. But as a CEO, you should definitely understand the difference between the three, because if you don't understand the difference between branding, marketing, and advertising, and you're a business owner, you just have a hobby.
Mm.
Mhm.
Love that. Love that. So, it's all about being intentional and
Absolutely.
strategic and leveraging. So, I really appreciate that. Well, this has been just a great um, conversation. Lots of good nuggets that a lot of people can really implement immediately. I love the whole thing about monetizing the things that you do, because a lot of times we don't really have the vision to think what value we can create for the industry that it is that we're participating in. So I love that aspect, and that's something that they can actually implement today. So, what is the best way for everybody to get a
Oh,
hold of you?
absolutely. My website is VIP Events. That's with an S, VIPEventsconcierge.com. Also, they can email me at CEO at VIPEvents. Concierge.com, and my business line is 443-254-1098. Again, my business line is 443-254-1098.
Awesome. And any last words that you want to leave the
Well, first of
audience
all, I
with?
want to thank you, Lachelle, and your beautiful family for giving me this opportunity to be on your show today. And I want to just tell everybody to be safe
Mhm.
and always remember to be a blessing to other people.
Mhm.
Everybody have a God-given talent, but be a blessing to other people and just be safe during this COVID-19. It will pass soon and continue to be safe after it's over as well.
Awesome. Well, we want to thank you again, and it's so glad to, I'm so happy to collaborate with you because you have quite a vision. Just like you said in your one chapter, you love dreaming big. So that's the type of people I want to be in
Amen.
company with.
I'm going to
Okay.
text you because I'm going to see if I can do a Facebook Live with you either later tonight or tomorrow if your schedule permits. So thank you again for this opportunity, Michelle, and please share with me how I'll be able to access this interview to share with our networks.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you have a wonderful day, and so glad to hear your wise
Amen.
words.
Thank you
Okay.
again for the opportunity. Bye bye now.
What a great interview with Dr. Larry White. His words of wisdom are great. Take this time, write a book, monetize some of your gifts. I really got a lot of insight from this interview, and I hope it was meaningful for you as well. We cannot get stuck where we are. We have to look towards the future and continue to have hope and move forward. So, great nuggets that he was able to share with us and ways that we can position ourselves strategically as we move forward during this pandemic that will pass. So, if you are interested in being a guest yourself, please feel free to email me at info@lachelleatkins.com. You can also follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, and I have my own YouTube channel. So I challenge you to reach out because your insight can be a blessing to others that are hearing it. And it is so important during this time that we all stand together and do what we can in order to help build for a better tomorrow. If you found something in this podcast that resonates with you, please feel free to share it. Share it with your friends, family, coworkers, people in your Facebook group, anybody that you think might be able to benefit from the insight because, we all have to stick together during this time. I would love for a review. You can follow me on iTunes and you could write a review on the podcast. These are things that you could do that can help us move forward during this time and continue to build for a better tomorrow. I want to thank you all for listening. Have a great day.